Joining us now to break down the debate surrounding TikTok is Nathaniel Bradley, the CEO and founder of Data Donate Technologies. So Nathaniel, when we look at this latest development regarding TikTok, I think we should actually take a step back and first determine why we're having this debate to begin with. So when it comes to TikTok's practices, many say it's a national security threat, but is what they're doing that much different from, for example, Facebook?
Well, you bring up an excellent point. Unfortunately, us consumers are under attack, both foreign and domestic attacks on our data. And these exchanges are profound with respect to our use of this technology is a trade-off for the use of our data, and us consumers are not aware necessarily of the value of that data that we're exchanging. So if you look at the market cap of Facebook, it is supported by data assets, and those data assets are taken from the users. Here with TikTok, you have a foreign government that has now access to this data, and it really brings to light this issue. And it's high time that we consumers address it and understand it and fully bring forth solutions that allow us to use this technology without the loss of our personal data.
And I think you're exactly right. I mean, our personal data is creating a revenue of billions of dollars in advertisements for these companies. And really the main difference between the two is that one is a U.S. company, one is a Chinese company. So I understand a little bit why there are national security concerns when it comes to this. Of course, China a little bit more involved in their private sector type things. But nonetheless, this does raise the issue here in the United States. President Trump saying that the company has 45 days to find a U.S. buyer. Is there any precedent to this? Is this something that has been done before, or is this kind of a new realm?
Well, it's certainly a new realm. There is some precedence on the reverse of this, where we've had theft of our technology in the U.S., where we've banned technologies from entering our country. But here now you have technology emanating from mainland China, and us now requiring a sale to a U.S. company. Now this is unprecedented. It'd be hard to effectuate, but I would also say it does bring to light an issue. Now we are a free enterprise system, and if we at all move towards a more centralized government control or government involvement in our free enterprise, I think it's a slippery slope, and we should be better than that. We have a free enterprise system that has served us well, and it generates the best technologies. TikTok is really a valuable asset in terms of its user base, but its technology is not cutting edge. It is a knockoff in a lot of ways. And so what we need to do is really look at this from a consumer standpoint. We have the control. It is about the downloads. It's about the utilization of these technologies. And you could see one of two things happening. Either a U.S. company will be able to assume this asset, and hopefully there will be better stewards of it with respect to the data in it. But the overall approach of this application can be replicated and is non-proprietary and should be looked at differently from our standpoint as consumers having the ultimate control.
And Nathaniel, you bring up an interesting point, and it's that there is, if you will, a free market type of solution to this. In fact, Instagram, I believe it is, a Facebook company, is coming out with their own equivalent of TikTok. I think it's called Reels, which is essentially the same type of technology. It's short videos that you can edit, share, things like that. And to your point, what TikTok does, it's not anything that's groundbreaking. It's not anything that is completely revolutionary, can't be replicated by any means, but they do now have a foothold in this industry. It's something that they do have a lot of users, so that's what's behind it. And I will say that I do feel a little bit better that Microsoft is one of the potential buyers, someone who has done defense work, is very much so in tune with this industry. It's not just some random billionaire out there who doesn't know exactly where this information is going. So that does make things a little bit better. But when we're talking about a possible divestment of TikTok or a sale of TikTok to another company, what does that look like? Does it have to be a straight out sale?
Well, and when you look at it, our government getting involved in that is, we have antitrust laws, and the government does play a critical role a lot of time leveling the playing field in our free enterprise system. Yeah. We should be looking at value of these acquisitions as they grow values inside their acquirers. If a U.S. company such as Microsoft value, but they're also good stewards of the data. It's not acceptable for a communist country or a communist government to have data of American consumers. So
Right.
the general premise is accurate and correct. But what we have to be is good stewards of our free enterprise system. And we have to look at this system as sacred and precious and important to the success. So I would say the acquisition should be accretive to the acquirer.
Hmm.
Microsoft, when they acquire it, it must gain in value. And I would say the consumers must understand the data exchange, how much it's worth, the data that we give, and we ultimately must own that and have be better stewards of our own use of applications and understand where that data is going and who has it. I would argue that if you knew that it was a Chinese communist government that had your data, you'd be hard pressed to download that app. And maybe that's Microsoft's value proposition in the end.
I think you bring up a really interesting point, and it's if there is a silver lining in this situation, it may be the idea that Americans and consumers more specifically are waking up to the idea of what fuels these big tech companies, where they get their money from, where they get their revenue from, because at the end of the day, you're exactly right. It's the consumer. It's our information that is fueling their advertising practices, really all the data that goes into it, because that's really the commodity that they're selling. It's not so much a goods type of services. We are the goods in this sense, and our private information facilitates that revenue. Nathaniel Bradley, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight and breaking down where we stand with TikTok. Thank you.